Good to go.
What's up, cronies? Cat Burglar here. We're to episode 11 already in this football season, and really excited to get after it today. We're going to be talking about our records first. Um, it'll just be the Hitman today, Cash Money Caden, and the Cat Burglar. Sal the Prognosticator is on vacation this week, but we'll be giving out his picks. Um, so we'll go into those records right away, and then we'll go into week, what is it? 4 for the NFL and week 5 for college football. So we'll go into both of those. Caden, you want to kind of hit us with those records?
Yep. So last week, Sal went 1-1 in the NFL and 1-0 in college football. Bert went 0-2 in NFL and 1-1 in college football. I had a pitiful week in the NFL going 0-2 and 1 and went 1-0 in college football. Cat Burglar went 3-3 in the NFL and 1-2 in college football. And that brings our overalls to Sal, 2-3 in the NFL and 6-0 in college football. Bert 4-2 in the NFL and 7-3 in college football. I went, or I am 3-7-1 in the NFL and 4-3 in college football. Cat Burglar is 9-6 in the NFL and 7-14 in college football. And our overall podcast in the NFL, we're 18-18-1, right at about 50%. In college football, we're 25-22, putting us right at 53%. So we're hitting just about.
Excellent. Nice. You know what's interesting is, I think Hitman and Sal were saying, really ready for football, and you guys both been crushing in college.
Yeah,
It's funny. It's kind of funny how that works.
yeah. I'm fine. This is the first year in probably 8 years that I felt more comfortable betting college football than NFL football.
Yeah, it's been a lot of up and downs. It's almost like if somebody does good in the NFL, one week, you should almost go against them the next week.
Yeah,
But it's hard picking which teams you're gonna have a problem with. But well, thanks for recapping that, Caden. Hitman, what do you got this week?
well, for college, I got Iowa State. They're minus 13 and a half versus Houston. It's at Houston. But I like Iowa State a lot. They're playing good football. Houston's been they've been the doormat for a lot of people. So
Yeah.
like the 13 and a half. It actually opened at 11 and it's gone up to 13 and a half. So I'm curious to see how much more it, fluctuates throughout the week here. But I like
Right.
it. I also like North Texas minus 6.5 versus Tulsa. So North Texas at home minus 6.5. Those are my two college picks. And for the NFL, I like the Steelers -2 at Indy. And I also like the Jets -7 versus the Broncos. Those are my picks for this week.
I like the Steelers. It seems like they found their quarterback. They're starting to play really good. They got a good defense, and
Defense is so
but
good.
yeah, it's kind of like when you have two quarterbacks, then you don't have one, and you almost kind of got to settle on one, and it looks like they have. And the Jets are going to get better and better. So I like both those picks. Cash Money Caden, what do you got this week?
I only got one college football pick. I love Georgia -1.5 versus Alabama. Obviously, it's two ranked teams. I saw Alabama against the Badgers. I think the Badgers are terrible. And you know what? The Badgers had an opportunity to make that game close. Going into halftime, they gave up nearly like 60 or 70 yards for a touchdown within 40 seconds. And then I got three NFL picks. Packers money line versus the Vikings. Jordan Love will be back this week. And I think the Vikings are playing good, but you see it day in and day out in the NFL. It only takes one Sunday to fuck up. And then I also like the Dolphins -2.5 versus the Titans. Saw the Titans last week. Will Levis is horrendous. He might be one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. And I'm not just saying that against the Packers. I mean, he shit the bed against the Bears the week before through a bonehead pick six right at the end of the game. And then my last pick is Cowboys -4.5 versus Giants. Giants are terrible. Yeah, I know they got to win this last week, but the Cowboys 0-3, aren't they? I mean, that team has too much
No, they're
talent.
1-2. They won their first game.
Yep.
Okay, 1-2. They have way too much talent to not win the regular season. So those are my picks.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll go into my picks. I've been really struggling in college football. I started out week one, I think 2-5, which was god awful. I think I've had one winning week so far. But I'm going against Caden here. I'm taking Alabama in kind of a revenge game. Well, I guess it's not revenge from last year because they kind of knocked out um, Georgia out of the national championship game. But um, I just think Alabama is going to win this game. I just, something about Georgia has, for some reason, just hasn't really played up to, and I don't know if they're getting everybody's best shot, but they've had a couple squeakers. I just think Alabama is better than they are this year. So I'm going with Alabama +2.
Can I pause you for a
Kansas State's
second?
playing Oklahoma State. Yeah.
So, what about that Alabama game? Did you not watch that Alabama versus Bucky game?
Yeah, I did. I did. You're right. I mean, Wisconsin wasn't that far out of that game. I think that late touchdown in the first half where they scored in like 17 or 18 seconds or something crazy like that really hurt Bucky and was deflating going into halftime. And then they kind of just rolled them in the second half. But Alabama's good. Georgia struggled a little bit this year, even though their record's good. If you look at their scores, they've had some nail biters. Yes, they pounded Clemson the first week, but they've had some other games that have been close. I think they won one game like 13-12 or something like that. So Alabama, I just think I think it's at Alabama too. So I just like Alabama in that. And then also too, I like the under in that game. I look at this game as something like 23-20. So under 48.5. And then I like Kansas State -5 against Oklahoma State. This is a game that not a lot of people are talking about, but it's two ranked teams. I think Kansas State's 23rd and Oklahoma State is 20th. So those are my picks in college. Um, I didn't looking at the card, and I said this before the show, I didn't see a lot of value. Um, I didn't see anything that jumped off the page at me like, I got to bet this. So I don't know. These are my picks. For the NFL, I'm with Caden on Green Bay. Green Bay money line. I just think they're begging you right now to take the Vikings with that line. I know it started at 3, kind of came down to 2.5, but I think Green Bay is going to be ready at home. And sooner or later, Minnesota. If Minnesota beats Green Bay at Lambeau, and goes to 4-0, to me, then there's no doubt these guys are the real deal, and they're going to be a problem the whole rest of the way. So, but I think Green Bay takes care of them. I'm going the Chargers. I know that Herbert might not play this week, but I have not been overly impressed with Kansas City, and that's hard to say seeing how they're 3-0, but they shouldn't have beat the Bengals. They could have easily lost opening night to the Ravens. They won by a toenail. And, it's not like they steamrolled Atlanta last week. Their offense hasn't been great. Chargers, Pittsburgh's a good team. They beat them last week, but I think the Chargers at home getting 7 in the NFL, I'll take that. I look at this as 24-23 game. And then the Panthers, they look totally different this last week with Dalton. So, they do have some talent on that roster, and maybe a change with Dalton will change things. So I like them +5 this week.
Yeah,
Um,
I think they established a running game this last week with Tuba. You know,
yeah,
Hubbard, and they kind of established a running game, which really helped. But
Yeah. Yeah,
no,
definitely. Definitely. It's crazy too. I was looking at Dalton's numbers.
yeah.
He passed for over 300 yards. That's crazy seeing how they got steamrolled, the weeks before. Just goes to show that rookie quarterback potentially could be on his way out,
Well,
you know.
I think you have a passing game that opened up the running game,
Sure.
and now you got a good balance. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. Totally different team.
So I have a question for
Yeah.
you.
Yep.
So you have taken the Panthers twice. Obviously, you cashed out big time last week with the Panthers getting their first win. The Panthers over under on win totals still to this day is 3.5. Thoughts?
I would go over that right now.
Yeah,
I mean, do I think the Panthers are going to be world beaters? No, but I do think they're going to win some games. Dalton wasn't a bad quarterback in Cincinnati. He's been in the league a while. If that was really truly the problem, then it's almost like who did the Browns get last year as quarterback? Flacco. I look at Dalton as the same type of player, kind of a guy with experience, a guy with a good arm, guy that's been in the league, seen a lot of defenses, and you know he's gonna. Who is that? Who's the rookie quarterback they got, Bert, in Carolina that was starting before? What's his name?
Bryce Young.
yeah,
Bryce Young.
yep, yeah.
He just. I'm not shutting the door on him, but he just looks really, really small. And I think Russell Wilson and Drew Brees, those guys are a rare breed. There's only so many guys that can do it at that size and take hits and all the other stuff that goes along with it.
The Panthers are a terrible organization to begin with. They've ran that team into the ground. I mean,
Yep.
they had players, that they've sold away, and now they've got this, and then they get a rookie quarterback, Bryce Young, and you throw him in that, you're going to ruin his career. Is all you're going to do. That's a terrible position for them to put Bryce Young in.
Yeah, you see all these teams too. They draft these quarterbacks and then they put Bush League basically lines in front of them
Yep.
and expect them to drop back with and get killed
Yep.
when they're looking at brand new defenses, new speed on the field that they haven't seen in the college ranks. You're seeing it almost somewhat a little bit in Chicago, where they don't have a good offensive line. Yeah, they got good skill position players, but he's running for his life back there.
And tell me if any of them have confidence right now, right? Those guys left
Right.
much confidence. They're the big men on campus, however you want to say it, and they come into this league and they're forced into these starting roles without having a chance to get groomed or learn the game and understand the quickness of it. And
Yeah.
they fail.
Yeah. 100%. 100% on that.
Okay, so I don't know
Yeah,
if
it's
this is
just
cheating, but I don't have the odds. The odds aren't out for this player prop, but I'm going to take it anyways. Travis Kelce, anytime TD score. I don't know the odds. They're not out yet because it's too far
He's
away from
due.
game day for the player props. Travis Kelce, through 3 games, has 8 receptions for 69 yards and 0 touchdowns. He is due.
Mhm.
So I'm going to put that as a pick. I don't know the odds, but that is a pick of mine.
Okay. Yeah. 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 He's struggled. Their whole offense has really struggled, but they're still the Chief and they still got Mahomes. And, the line last week is like, I wanted to bet Atlanta, but I look at Mahomes like Tom Brady. I'm just not betting against him.
Yeah.
You just can't. They're just too good, you know?
Agreed.
So, but anyways, guys, great podcast.
Oh, we got to go for Sal's pick.
Sales picks.
He has
Yep.
the
We got to get
Badgers
sales picks.
plus 16 against USC, your team, Cat Burglar. And he has Dallas minus 5.5 versus Giants, which I love that pick.
Yeah, to be honest, I think 16 in that USC Wisconsin game is a little high. That was a heck of a game, that USC Michigan game. It was fun to watch, but obviously my team was on the wrong side of it and Sal's team was on the right side of it. But Um, I I'm not a firm believer in USC's defense, and they wore down. But also, too, USC wore down Michigan's defense at the end too. They were able to run the ball against Michigan. Michigan ain't no joke. I mean, their defense is tough. So it'll be an interesting game. Sal's been doing really good in the college, and so I wouldn't want to go against his picks. I know Hitman's been doing really good, and my picks in college have been ass. So I need to get on the right track. But good stuff, good stuff. Cronies, we're just trying to give you guys winners. Every once in a while, one of us will have a down week, but then the other guys will carry. So it's all good. And we'll be back next week for episode 12. Good luck with your bets. Deuces.
Peace.